Hey guys, I'm Isaac from Isaac Builds Things. Today I'm ripping the New Gen gear because I just got home from working for New Gen, which is the company that I do my building apprenticeship part-time with Hunter. This is a video where I thought it'd be good to film because it was my first job running a job as a second year apprentice, running a little deck job. So I was kind of in charge of it, and then Hunter was on holiday, so I called him a couple times a day to check in. But it was good to push me to learn to run a job and keep everything kind of like ticking along, keeping us both busy, figuring out what's next, and yeah, making decisions. It was great learnings and pushed me past what I'd done before with building, so it was a really good experience. And yeah, I documented lots of it, so I'm gonna come through, just kick the microphone, gonna go through and explain lots of that in this video. I might film a new intro because that was pretty long, but I might just leave it, and if you watch it, then that's so sick. So we didn't start filming until day 2 because I didn't think about it. So first day we demoed the deck, the old deck that was here, little photo here. Ready? There it is. It's not actually there for me now, so it's kind of weird looking at nothing, you know, just looking at my light there. Oh my gosh, this is going to be like a 2-hour video. So first day we demoed the deck. As you can see here, it used to be a deck and now there's a way better deck. So first up we had to take that one down. It actually took like 45 minutes, so that was sick. It actually, yeah, it went real quick. And then we had to jackhammer out all the piles which were there, all the concreted in piles, and then we actually put the holes in pretty much the same place because we're basically replacing like for like, except making it better. Put new piles in and concreted them in and braced it all up. Well, braced it up, then concreted, and then came back the next day and it was all solid and ready to go. So the second day, first thing we did, take off all the bracing, got out the laser level, and then we found our finished floor height. So that's where we want the top of the decking to go to, which was at the front doorstep. There's a concrete front doorstep. We got that height, and then we subtract down from there to find where we want the top of our piles to be, because that's where we need to cut the piles. So for us it was 19mm decking, 140mm joists, and then 140mm bearers holding up the joists, and then the piles were holding up the bearers. So that's 299mm above the pile is the finished floor height. So that's what we were aiming. So we found our finished floor height minus 299, and that was our pile height. So Nathan's marking out the piles here, and I'm going along cutting it with a circular saw and then finishing it off with the saber saw because it's not quite deep enough. For this deck we only had one row of piles. The other side is a stringer that's attached to the wall, so we replaced that on the first day as well. On top of the piles, the bearer will be 90mm wide and the piles are 125mm, so that extra 35mm we cut off at a 45-degree angle because the bearer isn't as wide as the pile, and then water can run off on the chamfered edge rather than sitting on top of the pile. Next up, I'm making the bearer. The final dimension is 140 by 90, so I'm just putting two 140 by 45s together using a nail gun and 90mm galvanized gun nails in sets of 3 every 400mm, angling opposite each ways each time to make it as strong as possible, and making sure one side is square, which will be the bottom, and then we can plane the top edge if one of the pieces is a little bit raised or a little bit wider in some places, which it was. I got Nathan cutting all the joists to length while I set out where the joists were going to go. So the joists were going to be 400mm centers, so it worked out pretty good that all of them were 400 except the last one was about 500. And on the outside the boundary joists were doubled up with blocks in between. So next up we got Nathan nailing them together. The reason they have blocks in between them and you need it doubled up is so that we can pick up the picture frame around the edge as well as the ends of all the decking boards on that second inside boundary joist. And we're just laying them out, getting it all sorted. And this boundary joist is what we're using to line up all the joists so we can get them all nicely 10 mils off the wall. We are attaching this with big 150mm landscaping screws every second joist because we've got the balustrade going on, so we want the posts of the balustrade to not just pull out those screws. So they're just big beefy landscaping screws. And then later on we doubled up that boundary joist with another one so that it was 90 mils thick for the posts of the balustrade, so the bolts could go through thick 90mm to hold on real tight rather than just the 45 to beef it up. We're going to add in fishtail blocking, which is just blocking in the center of each joist to hold them upright and nice and strong. Now it's time to start putting some of the decking down. So we started with the facing boards on the front and the side, and then cutting the outside long picture frame parts for the tops with 45-degree angles on the ends. I'm writing down what I'm supposed to say and then I'm trying to say it, but I keep saying different stuff, so this is taking so long and I'm so sorry, but I hope you're enjoying the video so far. Like and subscribe if you are enjoying this and you want more of this. Tell me, and if you don't, tell me in the comments. Either way, tell me. I forgot to turn the camera on for a bunch of the decking boards, figuring out where the joins are going to go. We ended up having 3 joins, which was actually not very many. There was lots of full lengths. In the packet that we got sent, it was only about 2.7 meters with the long pieces, so that was not that bad because we had quite a few 2.7s and 3.3s to be the full lengths. So there's only 3 joins, figured out where those were, and then we laid it all out and we divided up the gaps with wedges. So you can see all the wedges that we're using, just hammer them all in to even out the gaps, and you can just go along and make sure all the gaps are even, and then we mark with pencil where we're going to go all the way along, and just pre-drill because Quilla will split if you don't pre-drill it, and then screw it in with an impact driver and the nice, I think these were 65mm decking screws, or maybe 55. While Nathan was screwing off the deck, I started making the stairs. So I was looking at the plan, what Hunter sent through, some details of what he wanted, and I was figuring out the height of the risers. They needed to be like a maximum of 180. They ended up being about 176, which was pretty much perfect. And then the treads were 2 decking boards deep, which was 280. So the treads are 280, the rise was 176, and that was averaged the center of the stairs. So there's a sloped footpath that we're putting it on, so obviously to the right is going to be a taller first step, and to the left is going to be shorter. So in the middle where you walk up, we wanted it to be that average height so you don't trip over going up the stairs. So that ended up being 176. The track saw comes in handy when I was needing to accurately cut the stringer down to size. And at the end of day 3, I helped Nathan screw off the whole deck so that on the Friday and the next day I could just work on the stairs by myself when he wasn't there. I added just a few of the treads on so I could test to make sure that the stairs were going to fit nicely and nice and level on the ground. It turned out well, so I went ahead and carried on. On the side that's visible, so the stringer that's visible on the right, I was screwing from the inside, and then on the side that's against the wall, I was screwing straight through the side of the stringer because it was easier and a bit stronger. The routed slot is about 45mm wide for the 45mm thick timber, so some of them needed a little bit of persuading, smacking the block instead of the actual treads themselves means that I wasn't damaging the stair treads while I was smacking them with the hammer. And then I just used the sash clamp to clamp the top and the bottom to pull it all together nicely and screw it together. I didn't actually film putting the angle brackets into the concrete or onto the concrete, but I used a hammer drill, drilled a 10mm hole and screwed the concrete screw in, and that fixed it to the ground and then fixed it off to the stairs at the bottom, behind where the front facing of the decking will be. Now all that was left to do is just to cut and screw down the decking boards for on the treads, 2 on the top and then 1 on the face, and then at the bottom it will just be cut on an angle to follow the slope of the ground and be up 10mm so it doesn't get wet. And this was not quite a fully comprehensive video, but a good example of my first job that I ran as a second year apprentice. I'm pretty proud of how it turned out. Obviously still a long way to go, but getting there. Still need to come back to put the balustrade and the trellis on the front. And yeah, overall stoked how it turned out. There's 3 days with 2 of us and 1 day with just me on the Friday. Pretty proud of the work, and if you want to see more of this, let me know. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time.